Do you have shin splints? I feel like it's shin splint season because it's spring. Shin splints are actually one of the most common injuries that runners experience, and today I'm going to give you 3 exercises that you can use to get rid of shin splints and get back to running pain-free. Because of the proximity, you first want to rule out a stress fracture. So stress fractures usually have pain during activity and then also at rest. If you think you might have a stress fracture as it's getting worse and worse, as you increase mileage or speed, you might want to go to a doctor and get some imaging done just for some peace of mind, because if you do have a stress fracture, you're going to want to rest it so that bone can heal and get stronger versus doing these exercises. With shin splints, you usually have pain down the distal 2/3 of the tibia. So that's different from a stress fracture, because a stress fracture, you're gonna mostly have localized pain that's about 2 to 3 centimeters in length versus maybe 5 to 6 centimeters with shin splints. So the common theme with shin splints is that it gets worse with activity and then it gets better with rest. So you might feel better if you've rested up, maybe you've taken 2 weeks off from running. You might feel better going into running, but the second you start running, it gets worse. And that's because you haven't addressed the source of the pain. The main theme of rehab with shin splints is all about finding load management. So if there is a threshold of pain, you don't want to cross that threshold. You just want to hover right under it, doing activities that still contribute to loading your body, but they're just not contributing to crossing over into some pain. So that might look like decreasing your mileage, decreasing your speed workouts, and still continuing with your strength workouts just to build up more load. So over time, that pain threshold can get higher and higher, so you can do more and more activity without causing pain. But today I want to give you 3 exercises that are going to be really good to help increase your ankle stability and that muscle along the front of your shin, also known as the anterior tibialis, as well as on the inside of your shin, which is known as the posterior tibialis. But first, I created a freebie for you that's all about the Shin Splints guide, so you don't have to memorize all of these things. You can just download the Shin Splints guide for free, and that'll give you everything that you need to know about shin splints and how to get back to running pain-free. So the first exercise that you're going to do is called Windshield Wipers. So in a seated position, you're going to make 2 fists and put them in between your knees, so now you don't move your knees. From here, take a look at my feet. You're going to lift your feet up as far as you can, out as far as you can, and down. And then you're going to lift them up as far as you can, in as far as you can, and down. Okay, so you're going to keep going back and forth into those extremes of the ankle. Make sure you're not moving your knees, and also start with your feet pretty much shoulder width apart so you can bring your toes in as far as you can. So up, out, down, up, in, down. And these are windshield wipers. You'll definitely feel it working along your ankle. I know I do. And this is a great exercise to strengthen posterior tibialis and anterior tibialis. So the second exercise is called a standing clamshell. So you're going to grab a resistance loop and you're going to place it over the tops of your knees. From this position, I'm going to bring my stance leg about 2 feet from the wall, and then my back leg is going to go up against the wall. So my foot's on the wall. From this position, slight bend in your stance leg, and this leg that's up against the wall is going out and back in. Okay, so it's going into that external rotation of the hip, out and back. So I'm making sure I'm not leaning my shoulders over my hips. I want to keep them stacked on top of my hips as I go out and in. You might feel it working in your stance leg as well, because your gluteus medius supports that single leg stance. The third exercise is called toe lunges. So what you're going to do, I would start up against a wall, or you can hold on to a chair, and you're just going to get into a split lunge position or split squat position. So 1 foot in front of the other, toes facing forward. I want you to lift both heels up, and from this position, you're going to lunge down and up, keeping your heels up at all times. So that's why you want to be near like a wall or chair, so you can catch your balance if you need to. So you're balancing on ball of your foot and your toes. You can hear my ankles cracking. It's all good. They talk to me. Up and down here, and you'll definitely feel it working in your calves. Usually your calves are pretty weak when you have shin splints, so that's something you want to develop. If this was helpful, let me know in the comments, and I also want to hear what you've done to get rid of shin splints.